Well, the porch is more of a mess than usual, but for the best reason. Almost all of these are from Edible Earth Farms, which my girlfriend Claire picked me up at the Phipps May Market yesterday. And they're there. A couple of these are from the Frick Grove, Pittsburgh, and then I found out that they had herbs too, but in the wrong order. Alas. So I already have one planted over here. This is potted up rosemary, potted up white sage. I'm excited about that. We'll see how it does, because I don't have like great big windows, and I think this needs a lot of sun, so I might not be able to. And it's only hardy to zone like 8 or 9, so it definitely can't handle our world up here in Pittsburgh. So, it's May, 13th. Here's my tarragon, also from Frick. The white sage is from Edible Earth. So, yeah. The strawberries are doing pretty well. All of these little mini strawberries. There we go. Just about. And the flower. And the strawberry. There it is. They will be. They'll be fruits. And all of these are the violets all around the outside edge. Really hoping those will help hold the strawberry fruits out of the dirt. I know that they'll reduce my need for weeding significantly, so one way or the other. A minute ago it was both raining and sun shining, but you know, that happens. So yeah, all of these little strawberry plants, some of these just barely made it through the winter. So they're not fruiting yet anyways, but these are ever-bearing. And I do want to cut the sidewalls off the rest of these tires. I started to move the tarp today, mainly because I had to get I assembled my garden cart, which is from Aldi. And so this is all of the tire sidewalls I have. They are great for holding things down. They're really good at that. I'm working on getting the massive grass patch out of my lawn. This lawn is almost entirely oregano and yarrow with various other weed plants interspersed. This had a lot of grass. I don't like grass. Grass is awful. This also has like interspersed grass through here, and I might just have to like dig after it too, like I did right here. So, whoa, there's a hole. There's a hole. I'm going to have to backfill that. I also need to weed whack. Badly. Look at all the flowers. This is my Floribunda rose. Doing its Floribunda thing. It's interspersed through the elderberry, whose buds are just still pretty tiny. Hopefully that'll focus. That's like 3 feet above my head, so I can't tell. Yeah, most of the flowers are like way up there. I'm also still hoping some of these might be. I haven't seen some of these before. I'm hoping some of these are the what's it called? Dwarf pyrethrum daisy. Since I have had such trouble with ticks, I really do want to have a pyrethrum daisy in the lawn, and since this is bare dirt, this is a good place to start them. It was really nice because after I dug and put in a whole bunch of yarrow in that, it poured. It rained so hard that I didn't really have to water it. Some of these flowers are starting to lighten up. All of my bare root plants from the early spring took except one, so that's 13 out of 14, I believe it is. And that was one of the pawpaw down over the cliff, the hardest one to reach. So I'm not like super surprised. I'm really not super surprised. One of the lily trees is up here doing well. This is wormwood. It seeds pretty freely, but it hasn't in a while seeded, so I'm not like comfortable cutting that down because it's the only one I have right now. Aronia's doing great. The irises are about to pop into bloom. These are the pink ones. There's a bunch of comfrey blooms right up underneath the string of lights, which is so people can see when they're walking up my sidewalk, because there's always crap in the way, and not everybody has great night vision or great balance. I don't want to count on that. You can see that the jostaberry branches are starting to bow under the weight of their fruits. I'm on focus. So there's a lot of fruits here. Let's see if I can get this to focus. And it will bow more and more under the weight of these, because they're going to at least triple in size there. Usually by the time this is fruiting out, the branches are bent the whole way over and just about touching the ground underneath. Lily of the Valley's in full bloom. More irises back here. There's an apricot. There's a little bit of yellow. All of the poppies are like, boom! They're all right here. Look at them. Look at them being crazy. I love them. Kind of thinking they might do well to just line the entire fence, because again, not mine. Mine property line is like that and then makes a turn. Funnily enough, my street address is down there. My property doesn't touch it. Yeah, whatevs. So I still have that one currant there. This is the cherry tree that's 2 years old. Well, it's in its second year, rather, being here. This is the plum tree that I just got this spring. These little jugs are tomato plants that were coming up early. There's tomato plants in there. Since it's still been at risk of like frost, seriously at risk of frost recently. These jostaberries, or no, not jostaberries, service berries or saskatoons, are just covered in berries. I need to beat the birds to them this year. And then of course my cherry tree is also just covered in cherries. Some of these are either starting to blush or starting to rot. I'm not sure. Yeah, some of them are blushing, but I think this one is... I think that one right there has got an issue. Alas, what can you do? That trench has the scorzonera. Only a couple of them came up. I'm hoping they do okay. They are perennials and they do self-seed, so I should be fine once they come up. I have several more seeds too, so I can add to that. In here, I did plant squash in the winter with hopes that it would come up in the spring. I don't see signs of it yet. That doesn't mean that it just hasn't, maybe the ground hasn't reached the temperature where it germinates yet. That said, I may go through and double up. Probably should have labeled which type of squash I put where, because I still have squash packets. Yeah. Oh, come look at all the asparaguses. Look at them. These are huge too. Like, this is a spaghetti jar with tea in it next to my asparagus. My hands are kind of small, so they're not a very good comparison, but these are all ready to be dinner tonight. Look at this. And I need to look. Excuse me. Look at this. It turned this brick right up out. I need to take this asparagus plant and move it right where I put that one rhubarb. I have so much asparagus plant that it's outgrowing its bounds and it's starting to turn bricks out. I'm not entirely sure what to do about that except to divide the sucker and hope for the best. So I think as soon as I'm like done having it for breakfast all the time, I also kind of want to pull up some of this this black plastic flaps in the wind. It makes me think stuff's around that isn't, and blah blah blah. So yeah, that might be good to remove too. I moved the couple of of rhubarbs that were in that tire over here. And then, of course, those teeny little rhubarbs are still doing just fine, I believe. They're starting to be shorter than the plants around them, which is somewhat of an issue. Like, see right in there, there's the rhubarb coming up out, like, with... I mean, that's kind of an issue. I need to, like, thin the daffodils and deal with the fact that I didn't realize there were daffodils there when I planted this rhubarb. Let's see if we can find any other teeny rhubarbs. Here's one. See, that's the trouble right now, is they're so small. They're smaller than their ground cover. That's kind of an issue, because they need sunshine. This one, I don't see one here. That's a tree. This needs to come out. I don't know where the other one went. And then this one is one I just brought over from the other side. There was one right here. Where did it go? Huh. I don't know. Interesting. Where'd I put my tea? Here it is. So that's a few more rhubarbs opened to the air, so that's at least good. They really need that sunshine to get big and grow up. And I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with that rhubarb that's in the middle of the asparagus patch, because now that I have an asparagus to move. Anyhow, this is a hollyhock. I have been eating the leaves because they're edible. Nothing growing in here yet. I was really hoping I would get some of those fancy tomatoes to grow in here. But as yet, no sign of it. I was honestly hoping they'd just volunteer and I wouldn't have to do much. That one pear that didn't get eaten by the deer that day, is it still here? Huh, it might not be even. Oh, there it is. A little bit deformed, but present, representing for the entire plant. And then there's these little apples up in here. Somewhere. Here we go. There's a couple of little apples. Look at how cute. Whoa, that's just leaves. There. They're so tucked in, it's hard to see them. But there's a bunch of apples. But only from, like, here up. Because the deer came through and ate everything. They ate it all. Yep. So, over here, this is just a hot mess. And we're back to the strawberry plot. So, I guess that's pretty much the entire garden. I'm not going down over the cliff today, because I just don't feel like it. Look at this hot mess. This is the plan over here is for me to take this tarp over here. But the trouble is there's a few things I want to rescue. There are 2 or 3 lily trees in here that I'm not even sure where I would put. But I want to rescue them. And there's also some echinacea tucked in there. Coneflower. Oh, and every single hedge that I planted for the neighbor is still doing great. And I'm really curious how peonies will do coming through a hedge like this. Because I left them planted there. I think it'll be really cute if great big peony leaves can just nod out of a hedge. That would be cool if they'll survive the shade that's produced. So yeah, the porch is a mess. And these little guys are going to end up under jugs just like those tomatoes I showed you. And these are going to be indoor plants, rosemary and sage. They'll probably live on the porch or on the front edge of the porch probably during the summer, just to give them a good head start. Look, I've got them in meat trays. Reasons. Hey, you know, it works, so whatever. It's a really beautiful day. There's these big dramatic clouds in the sky. Let's go take a look at those and then we'll end this video. There's the garden cart box. I built it! Yay! You can see that I'm trying to cut down the other half of this tree now. And that's about halfway done. So there's that. And on this side of the fence, it's mostly oregano and daylily. I see some cleavers. Yeah. Happy spring.